Blitz has a message for everyone in the audience. He's the bad guy and you shouldn't like him. I wanted to do an analytical deep dive on Blitz and the multi-layered aspects of his character. His core struggles make for a gripping narrative, and I'm genuinely rooting for Blitz to break down his inner walls, accomplish his dreams, and find the love and peace that he deserves. As a viewer, I couldn't help but fall for his charms and colorful personality. But here's the thing, if you look deep within his heart, you'll see how it paints an entirely different picture. Things visibly become more desaturated, and monotone waves of gray begin to take over, drowning the depths of his soul. When you reach his core, it's pitch black. He's his own worst enemy, and Blitz truly believes that he deserves to be there all by himself, since he's hurt and wronged everyone who's ever gotten too close to him in the past. Helluva Boss as a series can very much be seen as Blitz's healing journey, where he gets to self-reflect and navigate through his past and present, all in hopes of reaching a future where he can find true happiness. Though, before I go any further, we really need to address his name. You probably noticed how throughout the show he insists on being called Blitz rather than Blitzø, since the O is silent after all. It can be dismissed as a recurring gag, but his name actually carries a surprising amount of weight and significance. Blitzø represents his past self, which he's desperately trying to reject. Blitz, on the other hand, is his present self, which he's hoping to fully embrace one day. Try to keep that in mind as we further navigate things. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's just dive in. Blitz is a natural-born leader and is determined to fulfill his lifelong ambition of starting his own business and making a name for himself in the fiery pits of hell. Demonkind naturally gravitate towards him due to his unapologetic authenticity and willingness to speak what's on his mind no matter what. He uses his talents as an assassin to launch IMP. It's a business that specializes in crossing over to the human world in order to help demons tie up loose ends with people that probably deserve what's coming for them. Blitz has a few trusty employees by his side. First off, we have Loona, his adoptive hellhound daughter. Then we have Moxxie and Millie, fellow imps that are also top-tier agents of chaos and mass destruction. Another key player is Stolas, a prince of hell who isn't an employee of IMP, but his relationship with Blitz is rather complicated. Let's just say that an agreement happened between the two of them since Blitz needs a grimoire that belongs to Stolas in order to cross into the human world to do his job. What's the main condition to keep possession of the book? Well, Blitz basically needs to give Stolas a good dicking on a monthly basis. Alright, that's the base outline of the series, but we're here to talk about the Helluva Boss himself, so let's briefly explore the dynamic between Blitz and his employees. In season 1 of the show, we get to see that Blitz has a rather unhealthy fascination and obsession with Millie and Moxxie's status as a happily married couple. Blitz constantly oversteps the boundaries of his employees, prying into their personal love lives to the point of exasperation. Unsurprisingly, tension begins to build up between Blitz and Moxxie. Whenever a chance pops up, Blitz takes unfair shots at Moxxie and insults him in petty and demeaning ways. Thankfully, before things go too far, we get to see how Blitz truly feels in the 6th episode of Season 1, which is appropriately titled Truth Seekers. Moxxie and Blitz are captured by humans from an organization that investigates anything that's classified as paranormal, including demons. They both get exposed to a truth serum that makes them open up about things that they'd rather keep to themselves. Blitz angrily complains about how close Moxxie and Millie are, since it probably bothers and irks him in ways he doesn't fully understand. It seems he never got romantically close enough with anyone else, so he can't possibly comprehend the wonderful connection that M and M have. At the same time though, maybe there is more to Blitz's fascination with the topic. Could it be that he secretly desires such a relationship himself? As the effect of the truth gas really kicks in, we get to peek into the minds of both characters and how they feel on the inside. Blitz's psyche is in a general state of disarray and chaos. In his hallucination, he's also a younger, possibly infantilized version of himself. Maybe this is his inner innocence. The tattoo from his forehead takes the shape of a broken heart, and a tear is running down his face at all times. This is how Blitz sees himself, as a sad clown, and more specifically, this is a representation of his Blitzø persona, which he's trying to leave far behind. He can't run from himself on the inside though, so Blitzø is ever present. He's getting mocked and tormented by his visions, and Moxxie is also there to add fuel to the fire. His biggest insecurities about his capabilities as a boss come to the surface. He tries to retreat by saying he can do fine all by himself, and that he doesn't need his employees to help him. Then, the shadows of his past call him out on things that deep down he knows are true. But these truths are tough pills to swallow. He doesn't want to do things by himself anymore. Doing things solo went horribly wrong for him in the past. He still pushes away the ones who get too close to him, in the cruelest and most selfish way possible. Notice how the three that stay behind have all shown interest in him at some point. They learned to appreciate him and eventually also felt betrayed and disappointed by his actions. As he runs away from his past, they all get left behind. Then as Blitzø gets closer to his present self, he transforms back into Blitz, and we can see his normal appearance again. Stolas shows up at the top of the food chain, looking down on Blitz, asking him if he's afraid of loving people in a condescending tone. Blitz feels powerless, but he can't help but move forward since he believes he has no choice. This is the only pathway to achieve his goals. As he's pulled in closer by his temptations, he receives golden shackles and chains, which mockingly indicate he gets the royal treatment, but at the end of the day he still feels like a plaything and doesn't feel honored to be in this position. Moxxie comes back again, reminding Blitz that his subconscious self can't comprehend true intimacy but still very much craves it at the same time. In a way, Moxxie's relationship represents that special something that Blitz desires, but he doesn't fully understand what he's actually seeking out. As the phantoms of his past vanish, the fear of losing Moxxie is getting closer and Blitz can't stand the idea. It's his own invasive thought, but it eats away at his core. Then Blitz's biggest fear creeps up on him and completely rips his soul apart. His truest fear is dying alone. As this thought reverberates throughout his mind, it transforms into a whirlwind of despair, fully swallowing him up until it becomes too much to bear. The pain shatters Blitz. When it comes to Moxxie's hallucination sequence, I wanted to quickly highlight how even here Blitz has a broken heart symbol on his forehead, which suggests that Moxxie really understands how his boss feels on the inside. After they both wake up, their bond grows stronger than ever before, and Blitz comes to appreciate how Moxxie is still there for him. In the past, when Moxxie needed someone to reach out to him at his lowest point, Blitz was there for him too. Truth Seekers is one of the most important episodes from the series and acts as a mirror that allows us to see how Blitz truly views himself. Next up, I wanted to briefly explain why Blitz has been acting so overprotective towards his daughter Loona. In Season 2, we get to see glimpses of the relationship that Blitz had with his father. Things can easily be summed up like this. His dad is a neglectful scumbag that doesn't value his son in the slightest. Despite being just a kid, poor Blitz gets pressured into stealing even if he's scared of the consequences of potentially being caught. His father dismisses his concerns and fears. He emotionally manipulates a visibly distressed Blitz to do it anyway for the sake of his mother, just awful stuff all around. At the adoption center, when Blitz noticed Loona, he saw himself in her as they were both unwanted and discarded by society. Blitz couldn't stand hearing the words that she won't amount to anything, since that's what everyone told him over the years, but he managed to prove them wrong. Blitz wants to be the dad that he never had for Loona. He's doing his best to embrace his role as a father, and she appreciates his efforts, even if it's in a more roundabout way. Alright, time to move on to Blitz and Stolas. Oh boy, where do I even start? Stolas was trapped in a miserable arranged marriage until Blitz knocked him off his feet and gave him a much needed wake-up call. Throughout Season 1, their relationship is awkward and shaky, but Stolas starts falling more and more in love with Blitz. Here's the thing though, Blitz has other priorities in his life, to put it nicely. He's doing his best to build up a successful business. Oh, right, he's also still busy with prying into the romantic lives of his employees. What could possibly go wrong? The answer is everything. In Season 1's finale, Moxxie and Millie celebrate their first year anniversary as a married couple, and of course Blitz can't resist the temptation to snoop around. His selfish actions lead to a chain reaction of unfortunate events. Here's what happened. Over in the Lust Ring of Hell, at the house of Osmodius, Moxxie has a special treat in mind for Millie. Blitz shamelessly stalks them, but is denied access since the club is exclusively for couples. Blitz then proceeds to selfishly use Stolas as an entry card by inviting him on a date there. Stolas gets his hopes up and is genuinely enthusiastic for this meetup, only to be treated with the coldest indifference by Blitz. Moxxie starts singing a love ballad for Millie, but swiftly gets interrupted by the hosts of the club since it doesn't fit the vibe of the establishment. Osmodius and Hell's most famous performer Fizzarolli join forces to spice things up. Blitz fails to read the room and steps in at the worst possible time, putting himself in the spotlight, which he'd soon come to regret. It turns out Fizzarolli hates Blitz and is furious to see his face again. To further rub salt in the wound, Hell's biggest pop star Verosika also chimes in to humiliate Blitz even more. She's his ex-girlfriend and calls him out for breaking her heart in such a cruel way. Stolas also takes some collateral damage as things get heated. Eventually everything cools down and this disaster of a date finally comes to an end. Blitz calls this night a mistake and leaves with his tail between his legs. The Despite the sour turn of events, Stolas remains courteous and invites him over to try and decompress for a bit, as Blitz is visibly shaken by what happened. Unfortunately, Blitz decides to take it out on Stolas, refusing his invitation and telling him some very hurtful things on how he views their relationship. At the end of the episode, we get to see one of the most important pieces of indirect characterization for Blitz from the entire series. As he makes his way through the hallway, all the pictures on the walls have his face scribbled out, highlighting just how much he despises himself. Seeking some kind of comfort, he glimpses at what seem to be some of the most cherished moments of his life. Notice how the pictures from his gallery feature all the people he's ever been close to. As he goes further down memory lane, he becomes an emotional wreck when he's reminded of the most painful thing he's lost, his family. To help tie up these loose ends, we need to jump over to Season 2 and learn more about what happened between Blitz and Fizzarolli, who used to be childhood besties and performers at the same circus. Fate makes them cross paths once again. Stuff happens and both Fizz and Blitz end up being kidnapped by a mafia organization. Being stuck in this sticky situation gives them the opportunity to clarify things once and for all. 15 years ago, a devastating tragedy happened and Fizzarolli blames it all on Blitz. Turns out that yes, Blitz did technically cause it, but it was a complete accident. Somehow a small push ended in a total catastrophe. Fizz gets severely injured and his life is hanging by a thread. As a desperate cry for help, he reaches out for his best friend to save him. Blitz never does and simply leaves him behind to die. The reality is, as everything was burning down in flames, Blitz never had the chance to notice Fizzarolli among the utter chaos and confusion that was surrounding him. The reason why he ran away was to search for his family. Blitz apologizes from the bottom of his heart. He knows they can never go back to their more innocent days. Even if it was an accident, he still blames himself for everything that's happened. Fizzarolli was very much the light of Blitz's life. Without his family and best friend by his side, all that was left was an endless abyss of darkness. This event was the catalyst that made Blitz fall into the depths of despair. He hates every fiber of his own being. Blitz is afraid of getting too close to anyone, since he believes he'll just bring it down in flames again. Blitz and Fizzarolli were both physically and mentally scarred for life by this event. Blitz bravely confronted his past and sincerely apologized to the person he felt he wronged the most. Fizz could have easily dismissed the apology, but Blitz's sincerity shined through. Miraculously enough, time seems to heal all wounds after all, as their friendship blossomed again in the unlikeliest of places. The grand finale of their reunion is an epic escape scene that ends with a bang. I love the many subtle layers of symbolism that are present here. Blitz saves a helpless Fizz from the flames of demise, with a wonderful acrobatic nod to his circus performer roots. The smile that slowly creeps up on Fizzy's face when Blitz says he stuck around this time is absolutely priceless. Alright, with all of that extra added context, I think it's slightly easier to understand why Blitz finds it so difficult to connect with other people on a more personal level. I guess we can look at it this way. Each rejection adds another crack to his soul, while every person he accepts into his life becomes the glue that keeps him from falling apart. Now, let's go back to Stolas and Blitz. They find themselves in a rather tricky situation as they're both doing their best to navigate these new feelings and emotions they don't fully understand yet. They finally decide to arrange a meeting again after putting things on pause for a few months. Everyone from IMP has Blitz's back to make sure nothing gets in his way, and Fizzarolli gladly helps too. Blitz is fine with keeping things as they are, while Stolas feels guilty for effectively forcing Blitz to meet up with him in exchange for access to his grimoire. As a solution and apology, Stolas provides Blitz with a crystal that allows him to freely traverse into the human world. With that, they would no longer be bound by their deal. That way, they can be together with no obligations. Blitz misunderstands the tone of the conversation and assumes this is some kind of a role play. When he realizes it's serious, he takes it the wrong way and things get heated. Blitz simply sees this relationship as Stolas looking down on him for the sake of his own entertainment. Stolas is deeply hurt by this, since he made it very clear how much he respects and cherishes Blitz. When Blitz finally realizes the gravity of his words, it's too late for apologies. Even if he wanted to say sorry, it would have never reached Stolas after how things played out. The next day, Blitz intends to fix things, but somehow makes what was bad even worse. Stolas gets invited to an anti-Blitzø party that's organized by Verosika Mayday. He decides to attend, and turns out this place serves as a safe space and support group for everyone who's had their feelings crushed by Blitzø. No one at this party acknowledges Blitzø and his new name, which is why the O is not silent at this event. Stolas gets the opportunity to sing his heart out and let all the spectators know just how badly his heart was broken. Blitz was secretly watching his performance too, since he managed to sneak into the party a bit earlier. The sad resonance from Stolas' melody reverberates in Blitz's mind, allowing him to self-reflect on his actions. The anthem of the broken brokenhearted strikes a chord in Blitz's heart. This performance touches him to the core and makes him realize he can't continue to walk on this self-destructive path anymore. Throughout the day, Blitz went on an insincere apology tour. This is how he ended up at the party. He only truly wanted to apologize to Stolas, and he gets the chance to talk to him after the concert finishes. Blitz genuinely cannot comprehend why someone like a prince would be interested in a lowly imp like himself. He can't stand the sight of his own face, so what could others possibly see in him? Their conversation gets interrupted and comes to an abrupt end. Blitz decides to also go talk to Verosika, and she helps him realize that he truly wants to change and become a better person. If we've learned something from Hazbin Hotel, one's path to redemption starts with a sincere sorry, and Blitz finally feels that way about everyone from the party. Stolas starts flirting and making out with another guy in the distance, and Blitz is furious, but Verosika reminds him that if he truly cares about Stolas, he has to learn to let go and celebrate his newfound happiness. Ironically enough, Verosika gives Blitz a taste of his own medicine by serving him a slice of cake that represents his own heart. As he exits the party, he finally has the courage to look everyone he's hurt in the eyes while Verosika's sad song echoes in the background. Blitz is very much being haunted by the ghosts of his past while also being tormented by his present-day inner demons. Every waking moment is an internal struggle for Blitz, and he keeps things off his mind by growing his business together with his trusty employees who have also become his precious found family. What awaits Blitz in the future is up to him. It can either be the bliss of love and self-acceptance, or his own worst personal hell where everyone abandons him due to his hurtful actions. He's lost too much already, and he can't afford to lose what he's built up right now. The series is about him, the Helluva Boss, and his fight to grasp the future he yearns for so much. It won't be easy, the struggle may seem like an eternal one, and many obstacles will come in his way. The payoff will truly be worth it though. As long as he never gives up and keeps his loved ones by his side, there's nothing that can stop him. The audience also has a message for Blitz. It's okay, you're not alone anymore. There are millions of people who are rooting for your continued growth and success. Show the world what kind of guy you truly are.